For over half a century, nearly every interaction you've ever had with a computer has relied on a single analog concept. In 1964, IBM introduced a system that solidified how we understand digital storage. You write down a story, save it to a file, and when you need it later, you ask the computer to retrieve it. It's the literal reason we call these massive buildings data centers. They were built as warehouses for pre-recorded information, not for active computation. Everything from reading a news story to scrolling through your feed relies on this fetch and retrieve mechanic. Historically, computers have operated as high-speed librarians. But 2 years ago, that retrieval paradigm reached its limit. When you type a prompt into a chatbot today, the system isn't searching a hidden database for an answer that already exists. That architecture has to support more than just text. The mechanics of generation have evolved into a system capable of internal, step-by-step reasoning. We call this Agentic AI. Because the system can reason about a problem, it can act as an autonomous agent, using browsers, running software, or eventually commanding mechanical robots. We are moving toward an internet where 100 billion of these agents operate around the clock, communicating with each other to solve complex tasks for businesses and individuals. Powering a global layer of continuous, autonomous thought requires a physical engine that functions less like a library and more like a power plant. This is the AI Factory, a facility designed not to store data, but to manufacture intelligence. 3 centuries ago, the Siemens dynamo changed industry by taking in physical motion and outputting electricity. The modern equivalent is a 2-ton rack of specialized processors. It takes in raw electrical energy and converts it into a continuous stream of numerical tokens. These tokens are the foundational units of intelligence, allowing the machine to learn structures from human language to the complex sequences of human biology. Grounded, the digital economy has moved from cataloging the past to producing intelligence at an industrial scale. The scale of this transition is reflected in the numbers. $1 trillion of market-driven investment is flowing into this new ecosystem this year alone. That capital is flowing first into the foundational layers, sustainable power generation and raw chip manufacturing. From there, it builds upward through cooling infrastructure and AI models until it reaches the final layer of consumer applications. This multi-trillion-dollar supply chain exists for one purpose: to produce as much intelligence as the world can consume. Industrializing intelligence on this scale naturally creates anxiety about what happens to human jobs. To find the answer, we have to distinguish between the mechanical task you perform and the actual purpose you serve. 12 years ago, computer vision automated the specific task of identifying anomalies in medical scans with superhuman accuracy. Yet the demand for radiologists went up. Automating the scan made the department more productive, allowing hospitals to admit more patients and hire more doctors to fulfill their core purpose: diagnosing disease. When AI strips away the mundane task, it forces the human role to a higher level. It allows a carpenter to act as an architect or a plumber to work as a designer. For decades, technology was a gated community. If you didn't belong to the 2% of the population that could write complex code, you were a passenger. Generation has collapsed that divide. The most powerful tool for commanding a computer is now simply human language. This shift means the barrier to entry has vanished. The risk to your livelihood isn't the machine itself, but the person next to you who decides to pick it up.